Oh my god, look at it's this game.
Holy shit.
Oh my god. So, yeah, this is our first actual pre-recorded episode we're doing of this after the live stream. I don't think I've had like one interesting tidbit of information since then that I've been poking at.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, since we got so many clues about the epitaph at the beginning of this chapter 5 here, right? I went and what stuck out to me was where the part where like they lay out like how it's probably a sequence of numbers, right? Either 13 or 14 characters long. Or what was it? They picked out a sequence of numbers that like like the epitaph might be referring to a sequence, and I'm like, huh? When did we get ever a sequence in the game or anything to work with? And interestingly, we did get a code at one point in time that seems interesting. During chapter 3, the one chapter where we know the epitaph was solved, we also get the strange code 07151129, right?
We even got told it's the key to the Golden Land, don't we?
Yeah. So it's like I started poking around at that, and I'm like, I first thought maybe like it was 6 items we could pick out of it. So, and there's a couple ways you could sort that to make it into 6 different numbers, but both of them require you to make one of the numbers 15 in the sequence, which seems to mean that the sequence it would be pulled from is too long. And the leading 0, I think, is important here because that tells you unambiguously like the 0 is being counted as part of the sequence. So instead,
nice.
I thought maybe like this is like, the plane with the armor thing, right? Maybe instead of this being the 6 chosen by the key, these are the 7 that are left. And then when you do it that way, we get 7 numbers 07151129. Or yeah. So that probably means that the 6 the 6 chosen by the key are probably 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. Doesn't tell me anything about what the key is, right? But I did some math fuddling around, and that's as far as I got.
Okay, I have a theory.
Here it is. Battler speculates it's 11 or 13 characters. So if we read it as 6 characters, we would have had to make one of the numbers 15, which would not have worked, because that's above Battler's speculated range. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so I think we have a really good reason to believe that the characters would be indexed starting at 0.
Yeah?
Beatrice wears programmer socks.
That's true. That is very true. Beatrice, as a programmer, would of course index things starting at 0.
Yeah. Beatrice writes COBOL.
And the other thing I tried
COBOL 0 index.
God damn it.
I can't remember.
The other thing I thought about turning this back to was like maybe bringing it back to the family seedings, because the family has a designated hierarchy, right?
COBOL actually indexes starting from 1. I'm sorry.
If depending on how you count it, there are indeed 13 people currently in the there are 13 people currently in the succession for Kinzo's inheritance. Krauseva, Rudolph, Rosa, Jessica, George, Battler, Angie, Maria, Natsuhi, Hideyoshi, Kirie, and Rosa's absent husband. However, even given all that, I couldn't figure out what to make of the rest of that, so take of that what you will. That's what I've been working on in the interim. But you're not here for that. You're here for us to play this fucking game, aren't you?
I'm here for that.
You are? Wow, okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I hope you have a good time.
I will.
All right, let's just double check that everything's working, and yeah, we're all good here. Knock, knock, knock. I don't know who's knocking.
Neither do I.
There's some Foley work for you. The sudden sound of someone banging fiercely on the door brought Natsuhi to her senses. She had probably nodded off in the study while planning how they would overcome the next day. But what could it be? At a time like this? More importantly, the knock itself was strange. If someone wanted to contact her, they could have just used the internal phone line. Oh, she's in the study right now. That's interesting.
The phone lines were cut by someone else.
She told them that she... Well, no, remember that in every other instance, they've always cut the external phone line, not the internal. Like, so they can still call other phones within the on the premises, but at least that's how it's been in the past, unless that's changed now.
Do we get a call internally in any chapter other than 4?
Yeah. Maria or Beatrice calling up to the
in chapter 1,
and Maria singing into there are other instances of this. Yeah. Realizing that something strange was going on, Natsuhi shook her head one more time, completely throwing off her drowsiness. Father, it's Ava. I have an urgent, vital matter to discuss with you. It was Ava's voice. What is this? I thought I told them to lock the doors and windows of the mansion tightly after everyone left for the guest house. So why is Ava here? Natsuhi ran up to the door, responded with a small knock, and spoke through the door in a quiet voice.
What is it? You're too noisy.
I don't think that...
I sound just like Kinzo.
Yeah, perfect passing. Natsuhine-san, why are you in Father's study at this hour?
I told you to be quiet. Have you forgotten that the head values peace and silence more than anything else?
Now's not the time to be saying that. Stop harping on that and open up quickly. Bring Father out.
The head just went to sleep. I don't know what business you have, but I will deal with it tomorrow.
I don't have any business with you. Just open up right now. Sometimes multiple schemes and assumptions can fall apart due to the most direct, simple, and emotional of strategies. This is bad. If I open the door, Ava will probably throw herself forwards and rush into the study. Now I can't even open this door. At that moment, the phone suddenly rang. It's okay. Both of the keys to the study are here. No one can open this door. Natsuhi inched away from the door and grabbed the receiver.
Hello, it's Natsuhi.
It's me. Things are bad. I don't know. It's me. Things are bad. I want you to come down to the parlor quickly. Oh. Nah, it's me. Things are bad. I want you to come down to the parlor quickly. It took me a couple times to find the voice here, but you know what? We got there in the end.
That's fine, sweetie. It's just the family curse.
Yeah, you understand. We've all been there. His tone was strained. What in the world happened? It would seem that Battler-kun and this guest called Erica solved the witch's epitaph and have found the gold.
Huh? Is that true?
Rudolph and the rest have forced their way in. They're saying Battler-kun will show everyone the way to the hidden gold. Right
now, Ava-san is just outside the study door, yelling at me to open it. But if I do that now, she might push her way inside.
I understand. I will go there too. Don't worry about Ava. Just stay there and don't do anything. I'll give you a signal once I've gotten Ava away from the door, so leave as soon as you hear it. Are you ready?
So this is interesting. This is almost like what happened in chapter 1, right? It must be in some ways almost like what happened in chapter 1, because we get that whole thing where Ava is super sus of Natsuhi and says she did the whole receipt trick in the door.
Right.
And there's all this stuff where it's like, oh, how could Father have not been in there?
Right. And that's clearly what Ava was trying to get Battler to think about. Right?
Yes.
Was that what does this say? Kinzo was never there to begin with, is what that says.
And she'd have every reason not to say it outright if she thought that's why people were suddenly dying.
True. Oh my gosh, that does make so many things make a lot more sense, doesn't it? Man, I love how a few things have started making more sense, but there's still a lot that we have left to go here.
Oh, yeah.
This game has just created so many wheels within wheels, right? Right after that, Kraus came up the staircase, accompanied by Genji, who is vibing as per usual. A heated debate started between him and Ava. Open up! No, please calm down. Oh, Kraus. No! Calm down! In the middle of that, there was a small knock as a signal. Kraus had cleverly pushed Ava away from the door and distracted her. During that gap, Natsuhi slipped out of the study and quickly shut the door. Ava noticed this and her face twisted in disappointment, but the heavy sound of the auto lock had already rung out and the door had been sealed. The gold of the epitaph has been found! It's only natural that we should inform Father about this. Or else what? Is there some reason you can't tell Father about this? Father gave strict orders that he not to be awakened, no matter what, after he went to bed. He's quite a big snoozer, as you understand. Likes to get them Z's.
Really likes the big sleep, as they say.
That was a Raymond Chandler reference. Or we, of course, all know and understand common mystery references here. And have certainly not just done rudimentary research on Wikipedia. That's I mentioned this before, but I worked in a bookstore up until the pandemic for about 5-6 years. And in that time, I got very passingly familiar with a lot of authors' names and a lot of book titles. And doing that, you can tell which ones move quickly, which ones get featured. So you get an idea for what's popular and what is important, right? Mm-hmm. But I know nothing about the contents of them. I just know names and titles, which is very strange. Following those orders is the duty of the head's representative. Isn't that right, Genji-san? Yes. The master's sleep must not be disturbed, no matter what happens. Even a rule like that depends on time and circumstances, doesn't it? I mean, the epitaph was just solved. Father has a right to know straight away.
Of course, the two of us will report on everything to the head tomorrow. That's our duty as the head's representatives.
I don't care about that. Come on, just open this door. Let me see Father. Father? Father, can you hear me? It's Ava. Please, open up. Ow, 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 let go of me. That hurts. We're telling you to listen to us. Don't knock on the door so loudly. Ow, 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 ow. Let go of me. Kraus-sama, Ava-sama, the master is sleeping. Please refrain from disturbing him any further. That's clever. That's clever.
That's so clever.
That's very clever. Kraus equally culpable.
Yeah, and it's the only way it would work, of course, right? There's no way Kraus is going to universe brain Ava into shutting up.
Right.
But getting Kraus pissed off so that Genji can shut him up too, that'll work.
Yes. Making it so that way they seem like they're on the same side. Yeah, that's perfect. I love it. When Genji spoke firmly, the two finally ceased their scuffle. It seemed that Genji, the one who had spoken for Kinzo since they were very young, still possessed an air of dignity strong enough to handle both Kraus and Ava. Also, do you notice Kraus was doing some stuff to Ava during that scene? Ava put her argument aside for the time being. She could hold off worrying about that until after she saw the gold with her own eyes. After all, not even Ava had seen it for herself yet. Natsuhi and the others had managed to somehow deal with the momentary crisis. However, the move of the demons that would sneer upon their efforts had already begun.
Battler solved the riddle of the epitaph, you say? Yes. Though he had a lot of help from that Erica girl, Battler was the one who reached the answer. Erica has proclaimed that she will abandon her rights to the Golden Land. Therefore, the one who reached the Golden Land is Battler.
Fate can be truly amusing. To think that Battler-sama would make it there.
What will you do, Beato? You promised to stop the ceremony if anyone solved the epitaph's riddle.
Promise? So does that mean Natsuhi already has... Because these are Natsuhis, right? So does that mean Natsuhi already has plans to start the ceremony?
I don't know.
That's what that seems to imply, right?
It's unclear. Yes, that was the deal. That was the deal, indeed.
Apparently Battler-sama does not intend to become the master of the Golden Land. It now seems that no one will become our master.
That is also fate. It has been several decades since we first manifested in the human world through our bond with Lord Goldsmith. The time since then has been so very fun.
Come on, Leah, you sound like an old lady. So, what are we gonna do? If we go by Richa and Goldsmith's rules, now that Battler solved the epitaph and decided not to become our master, we've been relieved from duty, right?
That's true. I have no regrets at all. I've been prepared to be kicked down into Cocytus all this time. Wait, we can't let that happen. You might not have any regrets, but I will keep on serving Natsuhi. It would be quite irresponsible to let ourselves be relieved from duty just because Battler solved the epitaph. Witches are forbidden from breaking contracts, but they also must not fail to show gratitude.
Interesting. So in Natsuhi's mind, witches they cannot break contracts, and they must not fail to show gratitude. Interesting. So that's in Natsuhi's version of, okay. True. We should serve her until the family conference ends.
In that case, you won't be relieved from duty for a while either, Lord Goldsmith. Perhaps you should wait until you've overcome this family conference safely, said goodbye to Natsuhi-sama at the very least, and if possible, rewarded her for all her efforts. Indeed, she has done well supporting my foolish son. You're a fallen angel with one of its wings plucked off, aren't you? Just leave the other wing as a parting gift and go. Indeed. Perhaps that would be fitting. Natsuhi may be worthy of bearing my wing.
Again with this, so that really should have been the telltale sign, right? That Kinzo wasn't Kinzo, because Kinzo would never act like that, especially towards Natsuhi. Like, and our justification at the time was that, like, oh, he's impressed that somehow Natsuhi, of all people, is the one to survive the first Twilight, right? But even that's not how he thinks.
And our later, I think we were on the right track though, because when we were rewatching, we're very much like, oh, okay, that isn't the way he thinks. So someone here is conveying this to Natsuhi, convincing her. The only thing we didn't consider is that someone was Natsuhi
herself.
It's not somebody else trying to gaslight her into believing this. It is she herself trying to convince herself of this. However, we are approaching the critical moment. Your reward is waiting for you. Try to make it through this test unscathed, Natsuhi.
Sorry, I'm just gonna go in the corner and dissociate for a while.
So indeed, there is a bunker, and we speculated earlier that if it was indeed on the island... Oh, interesting, we get this shot, too.
Yeah.
Because this shot was used when they were escaping the tunnels, supposedly underneath Kuwadorian.
Yeah.
Where they were locked up in Chapter 4. We don't know how much of that to believe, right?
Yeah.
Because we haven't done
I'm also not going to put, myself at least, too much weight into the exact background images.
Oh, yeah, I'm not trying to say, like, that's evidence in itself. But it's interesting to know that we've seen now both backgrounds from that scene and the scene where Ava and Rosa found the gold.
Yeah.
Which seems to, like, if we take that, what might imply that they are indeed the same location.
Maybe.
The mountain of gold left everyone speechless. Regardless of how strongly they had believed in its existence, no one could look at this much real gold and not be shocked.
To think a place like this existed.
I can't believe it. That's Dad. That's a weird way of putting it, but apparently that's what we're coming down on.
Everyone was stunned by the gold. The first one to break the silence and jump around in ecstasy was Hideyoshi. Letting out an excited laugh, he clung to the wall of gold. Then he felt the cold, hard touch of it all over his cheek.
This is incredible. It's the real thing.
That damn dad of ours, sticking this much gold in such a ridiculous place.
Now that we have this much, we no longer have anything to fear. With this, we could overcome any kind of trial. Rosa!
Nay-san. We'll be able to find happiness with this, right?
Hey, it's Battlers. Not any of yours. Ava and Rosa moved towards each other at the same time and hugged as they broke down crying. Ecstasy and shock, wonder and sighs.
After stepping forward in front of the pile of gold that had caused these mixed emotions, Erica spoke as though she were an announcer in some show.
If this world is money, then this gold is the embodiment of happiness. Congratulations, everyone. I pray that this discovery makes all of your lives richer, and that you don't start murdering each other. Please don't do that.
I may take my hat off to you. To think you'd solve the epitaph within a single day of coming to this island.
If you couldn't solve it in a single day, then you wouldn't be able to solve it no matter how many days you had. After all, it doesn't take more than an instant for your little gray cells to give you a flash of intuition. Also, I wouldn't have been able to solve this riddle myself. I ask that you praise Bladderlesson's achievement as well, everyone.
I'm angry.
I abandon any rights to this discovery. I'm already satisfied to have my reasoning proven correct, so I like to give Bladderlesson full credit. I may be here, but please continue your discussion as though I wasn't. Bladderlesson called all the adults here, making sure that none of the cousins would notice. That can only mean one thing. He must have wanted to begin the true family conference with all of you.
That damn smile.
Right? Erica, quit deciding things on your own.
My apologies. In that case, I'll step down as the facilitator of these proceedings. So who will take my place?
Shrugging, Erica looked around at everyone. After a short period of silence, Ava made the first move. None of us have forgotten the deal we made earlier today, right?
Yeah. Divided between the four of us with 2.5 billion each. And then the successor gets another 10 billion.
Wait a second.
Wait, Battler never agreed to anything.
Yeah.
Battler never had a say in this.
Who decided that the one who discovers the gold becomes the successor? Hold up, you won't be able to get away with that, Natsuhi-san. We've all been arguing based on that premise this whole time, haven't we? You really think you can pretend that never happened now? That's right. Weren't you the one worrying about how if one of the servants solved the riddle, they might consider themselves the successor?
Haha. But nowhere is it explicitly written, and that's the truth, right?
You bastard. We were all aware of it, weren't we?
That's right, Anarchy. Are you gonna change your position at this late in the game?
Though it was never stipulated, I believe it was common knowledge between us. I don't see how you can suggest we ignore it completely.
You can't just interpret the head's epitaph however you like. Where is it written that the one who finds the gold becomes the successor? The epitaph was decided upon by the head. You have no right to decide these things for yourselves.
Calm down, Natsuhi.
How could I calm down?
Because don't you see where this line of reasoning is going to lead? No? Alright, well.
Yes, I do find it quite impressive that Battler-kun solved the epitaph. I certainly believe he should be rewarded for it. However, it's clearly a stretch to suggest that he deserves half of everything. And you won't get away with the argument that the discoverer becomes the successor. That's low, Natsuhine-san.
You could literally solve all your problems tonight if you just didn't argue with each other. Holy shit.
This is completely different from what you were saying earlier today.
I agree. Though it was never stipulated, the fact that whoever solves the epitaph becomes the successor has always been the greatest unwritten rule we've had. It's not fair if you start complaining about that at the last second, right? Yeah, it isn't fair.
Anyway, this gold is Father's. We can't decide how it will be split up without Father's permission. Oh, famous last words.
Yeah, he's like, not Natsuhi, you really want to... Alright, well. You're the smart one, I suppose.
That's low, Natsuhi-san. We were talking about this on and on earlier, right? Are you saying that whole conversation today was a bunch of bull? It just ain't right.
Why don't we just vote on it? Battler-kun, the one who found the gold, is the successor. My husband and I have no objections. What about you, Rudolph and Kyrie-san? Rosa?
No objections here. Nice going, Battler. Let's try to get you some ass later, huh?
I have no objections either. Battler-kun is the true successor chosen by the epitaph. If you aren't satisfied, then why don't we just ask Father directly?
That's right. Like you just said, Natsuhine-san, Father's the one who wrote the riddle of the epitaph. And he's also the proper owner of all this gold. In that case, shouldn't we talk to Father about this directly? How should Battler-kun, the person who discovered the gold, be treated? I believe Father is the only one capable of making such a decision.
But
Didn't I tell you to calm down? See? I told you this was going to happen.
Rosa and Kirie-san are right. Let's ask Father. Your turn is already over, Ni-san, Natsuhine-san. Yeah, bring Father out to us. We won't get anywhere with just you two. Let's begin the real family conference. Does this look like something you can pull off just because he's tired? If we take this thing lightly, we'll have a massive problem on our hands. Hey, are you listening? We won't get anywhere with just you. Bring Father out right now.
Are family conferences always like this?
How the hell would I know? It's the first time I've been here in like 6 years. Come on.
I'm already regretting it.
They're probably always... They're probably always like this on the inside. Nah. Looks like they won't be able to get this figured out right now without Kinzo-san. To think he's being called out to settle this children's fight, even though it's been announced that he only has a short while to live. I wonder how he feels right about now. Nah. Imagining that, no reasoning out, that will be a treat.
The parents ignored Battler and Erica and kept yelling at each other on and on. Even though Battler had more or less imagined that this sort of thing happened behind the scenes, this was the first time he'd seen it. He'd suspected it since 6 years ago, and he'd been able to get a pretty good idea of what this was like. The darkening expressions on his parents' faces when this time of year drew near. So does that mean 6 years ago Battler saw something happen at the conference that made him not want to come back?
I don't know.
However, this argument with his relatives were having before his very eyes was much more ugly than he imagined. That was why he was very glad that he'd called the adults out here without letting the cousins catch wind of anything. Also, the dripping sound effects. Like, clearly the implication is they're underground with that. Well.
Or there's this leak in the ceiling.
Yeah, that too. Perhaps because everyone was tired out from the seemingly endless argument, they took a short break. It was decided that this family conference inside the Golden Land should be moved over to the mansion. This place may have been gorgeous, like a VIP room, but there was no heating, and it was a little cold. It wasn't well suited for a long conversation. They thought of the possibility that someone might snatch the gold away while their backs were turned, but of course no one can manage that much with just human hands in a small amount of time, when it's 10 tons of gold they are dealing with. Honestly, like, the revelation that the gold is actually real is honestly the biggest thing about this. But it is consistent with the game's philosophy, right?
Yeah.
This is mystery, not anti-fantasy, right?
This also throws some things into question for me. I figured the gold wasn't real and that Kinzo's fortune was all in that vault that folks got keys to get a chunk of, and that doesn't seem to be the case.
So what's in the vault then?
Yeah, because it's not Kinzo's wealth.
Yeah,
unless Kinzo has two fortunes
you're right.
and one's made of gold.
That's not Kinzo's wealth. What is that?
Unless Kinzo's got two fortunes.
Because they've already sent out the keys for it at this point.
I mean, I suppose to be fair, he would need plenty of liquid assets.
I guess.
You can't just have gold, so maybe it's not that mysterious, but it's still...
So it's just that small portion of it then, I guess?
It'd still be weird if he just had this whole extra fortune here.
Yeah.
That was just...
That's
there.
so weird. So then what is that? Oh my god. Okay. In fact, it might be said that having this mountain of gold in the background was actually robbing them of the ability to make sound decisions. So they agreed to return to the mansion, in part so that they could regain their composure and continue the conference more cold-bloodedly. Oh, interesting. They have to go down. They have to go up the stairs that lead to the. We see that one shot of the steeple kind of in it without context a whole lot of times, but that one shot of the path is always used when it's leading from the harbor, up to the island. That's interesting.
Well then, if you would excuse me for the night, I imagine I'd just get in the way if I remained any longer.
Sure, sorry. Did we bother you too much?
Let us show our gratitude again tomorrow. Sorry for letting you see such an embarrassing side of us.
You said that you refused, but allow us to prepare a fitting portion out of gratitude, for you was one of the first to discover the gold. Right, Nissan?
Yes. We know what you're capable of. I don't think you can grasp our current circumstances. Like, please, shut up and never speak about any of this ever again.
Please accept my bribe. Oh, fuck. You don't want to accept the bribe. Please take it.
Please take this bribe. 20 billion yen in gold isn't something they wanted out in the open. They didn't want an outsider like Erica telling people about it. Of course, Erica had already reasoned out that much. She wore an unpleasant smile on her face as though she understood all too well.
Erica is the last person you want to find any of this. She's the perfect worst person for it because she is not in it for any personal gain.
Yep, it's the worst.
Well, you don't need to worry about me. Of course, I have no desire to tell anyone else about this. And if I did, no one would believe me without proof. I got to see something interesting tonight. It was quite a spectacle, so I'm more than satisfied.
I see. I guess it's not every day you see 10 tons of gold.
Seeing the gold was the spectacle. Of course not. Judging by Erica's dark nature, it's obvious what she's so happy about. I thought about telling her to just go away, but even I wanted to get out of this place. I tried to head back to the guest house along with Erica. However, Kirie-san grabbed my shoulder.
You can't go, Battler-kun. Please come with us.
Yes, yes. You're now a real successor. You gotta have an audience with Father and have him acknowledge you right away. That's something only the family head may decide. Don't make things up on your own.
Battler, I realize it'll be a pain, but stick around with us for a little bit longer, okay? Don't say anything, just stay quiet and keep your head down. Got it? Just do whatever you want. It would have been easy to say that I had no interest in being the successor, but I was sure that would add only more oil to the fire. Even if I hadn't been ordered to keep quiet, staying shut up like a clam was clearly a good idea. In that case, would it really be so bad if they just let me go back to the guest house? Dad put his arm firmly around my shoulder, and I told him it was uncomfortable and to let go. However, he didn't pay attention to a word I said.
Well, I've solved the epitaph. Just like you wanted. When you were the game master, we'd always get those letters. Try and solve the epitaph. If you don't, I'll kill you all. Remember that? Those were fun times.
Why did she want to make us solve the riddle of the epitaph? By solving it, we found a mountain of gold. Yippee for us. And what about Beato? Did she gain anything by having us find the gold? See, the game is... the game is now getting around to, probably, what is the reason Beato wants you to solve this?
I'm glad we were way far ahead on this then.
Yeah.
We've been speculating about that the whole time. What possible reason could there be
that Beato...
for wanting everyone to solve the riddle?
And clearly, one interpretation of it does just lead you to a mountain of gold. We've had it in red now. We've seen it twice. I don't think we can reasonably doubt that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But that's clearly not the reason Beato wants it solved.
Mm-hmm.
So what is it that Beato wants to communicate this way? Or does she lose something?
As far as chessboard thinking tells us, people don't ever make moves that cause them to lose something. That means you must have something to gain by us solving the epitaph.
No, this child has nothing to gain from having someone solve the epitaph.
What?
Fuck! God damn it!
Was this just the risk? That was literally it? This was just the risk?
I don't know.
Are you sure that's okay? Using red like that without her permission.
This child most likely wishes for it.
Virgilia, who had suddenly appeared there, quickly gave an answer to my question with the red truth.
In the past, I sometimes guessed that Beato tried to make us solve the epitaph because she wanted to make us find the gold's hiding place for her, so she could snatch it away. Is that wrong too?
Yes. In the first place, the gold of the Golden Land belongs to this child.
The gold of the Golden Land belongs to this child. Okay. Interesting.
She had absolutely no need to make someone find it for her, or to snatch it away herself.
Of course. Beato is Beatrice the Golden. Isn't she the master of the Golden Land and the Ushiromiya family alchemist? That totally makes sense. However, that makes me even more confused. Even if someone exposed the answer to the epitaph's riddle, Beato has nothing to gain. No, to the contrary, her own gold might be stolen away. In that case, I'm understanding this less and less. I understand the epitaph murders. It might be revenge against the Ushiromiya family, or else a ceremony to revive her powers as a witch. After all, she's probably doing it for some reason or a goal of her own. But what's the point of her telling us to solve the epitaph? Whether we solve it or not, she has nothing to gain at all. In other words, the whole issue of whether the epitaph is solved or not is immaterial in Beato's eyes.
You're right. Whether the epitaph's riddle is solved or not, this child stands nothing to gain at all.
So, is it just then the requisite amount of risk for her magic to work? Like, what is she trying to accomplish then?
That, or...
I mean, obviously the notes in the game aren't written by Beato.
Here's something. We've speculated at times before maybe some people involved in this planned to die.
Yep.
Supposing that Beatrice planned to die, there's no way Beatrice could benefit either way.
Oh,
whether
you're
the gold
right.
was found or not.
You're right. Oh, God.
I think there are options like that where it could be that Beatrice could have motives for this to be found that wouldn't involve her benefiting in any way.
Yep.
It doesn't matter whether it's solved or not. In other words, we could say that the epitaph's riddle itself is immaterial to Beato.
You're right. The epitaph's riddle doesn't have any meaning for this child. So even if you take it to an extreme and call the epitaph's riddle immaterial, it may not be possible to argue against your claim.
But Beato doesn't seem super happy about that.
That's also really interesting tortured verbiage there. It's not it's immaterial to Beatrice. It's even if you take it that far, it might not be possible to argue against your claim.
It's like...
So it's like, okay, so it's not immaterial, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you protesteth too much, right?
Beato, why are you making us solve the epitaph's riddle? If we liken the witch you are to a pair of scales, then the epitaph's murders lie on one plate, and the riddle of the epitaph lies on the other. After all, she's saying she'll stop the epitaph murders if the epitaph is solved. In other words, the epitaph murders and the epitaph's riddle are worth the same to Beato, like two sides on a balanced scale. That means both the epitaph's riddle and massacring all the relatives are equally significant from Beato's point of view.
Yep.
Mm.
Confusing the means for the ends, right? The murders are not the point.
But Virgilia responded with the red truth. Regardless of whether the epitaph is solved or not, Beato has nothing to gain.
And I think you're right about that, is that, like, probably the interpretation there is that Beato is either dead or willing to die here.
If she has nothing to gain, then this epitaph's riddle is meaningless and immaterial to Beato. In that case, how much are the epitaph's murders, which lie on the other side of the scales and are equal to the epitaph's riddle in value, worth to her? Think. Don't stop thinking. The epitaph murders and solving the riddle of the epitaph have equal worth. As long as the epitaph murders, which are Beato's goal each time, have the single way that they can be stopped, a way that she decided on herself, both are worth the same thing to her. X equals Y. And whether the epitaph's riddle is solved or not, Beato has nothing to gain. Y equals 0. So in this case, what is X? Are you not going to spell it out? Like, okay, I think that was a lot of ink spilled over something saying the same thing like 6 times, right? Wait a second here. That means the epitaph murders are also meaningless and immaterial. Every time she performs these bizarre serial murders, She's willing to spend an incredible amount of effort to politely send an advance notice, and then kills us one by one in accordance with the epitaph, never getting exposed. So all of that is just meaningless to her?
I spun the chessboard around and searched through Beato's moves over and over. This is always the first place I stumble. The significance of the epitaph murders. Why did she have to commit serial murders in a way that reproduced the witch's epitaph? If she wanted to kill the whole Ushiromiya family for revenge, it'd be much simpler, safer, and more reliable if she just put poison in their dinner.
Oh, the poison in the dinner again.
Shit. Or else went around killing people one by one in the middle of the night while they were sleeping. However, on the first evening, Beato sent us a letter that sounded like an advance notice, and then carried out a 3-part serial murder with large gaps in between. 6 people of the first twilight, the 2 people of the second twilight, and the 5 people of the fourth and later twilights. We aren't fools. Once the first murders occur, we barricade ourselves in somewhere to stave off any further murders. Furthermore, we quickly suspect a culprit among us.
Sus.
It seems like you've said the word, battler.
I can't believe we finally got the title drop.
What are you talking about? I don't get it. What is so funny about Among Us?
Don't worry about it. It hasn't been invented yet.
I assure you it's really funny though if you just say it again. But like maybe take out the N and like smush it all together.
You mean like Amogus?
Yeah, that's the shit right there. And start analyzing each other's alibis. As the victims increase, the number of suspects decreases automatically, and Beato's chances of success in this serial murder drop closer and closer to 0. All the epitaph murders are like she's strangling her own neck, making it harder to succeed in the serial murder she's attempting. All for a useless embellishment, all just for show.
She's raising the difficulty of completing her own objective.
Well, Battler, have you ever heard of From Software? You'll find that many gamers enjoy the enhanced challenge of higher difficulty levels and more punishing gameplay loops.
Oh, no, thanks. I'm not really into Pokemon.
That does follow. She really is a strange child.
Did you know? In mystery novels, they call things like these epitaph murders plotline murders. I think you could split the possible motives for plotline murders into like 3 groups.
And what are those?
Well, first off, maybe the following the epitaph gives rise to misconceptions about evidence and alibis, which might benefit the culprit. Pretending to be dead and mixing yourself in with the victims would fit this pattern. Right? As with committing murders that don't actually follow the epitaph, giving yourself an alibi by getting people to incorrectly guess the order of events.
God damn it, every single theory that we have is coming out of Battler's mouth in this scene.
What are these groans I'm hearing from beyond the 6th wall?
I see. So perhaps she only made it look as though she was killing them in a ceremonial fashion, following the epitaph, when she was actually guiding their thinking in a manner that benefited her. I do find that intriguing.
I mean, I think the most reasonable explanation is that, obviously Beato isn't doing this. Other people are committing murders and using Beato as a scapegoat. Right?
What?
Right?
Wait, so on your theory, you mean the person who sends the note isn't the person who...
Well, no, like they are, but like they're working so hard at this in order to convince people that Beatrice exists so they can use Beatrice as a scapegoat. Maybe?
So I think that the way I read it here was that Beatrice is picking out the name of the person that did this.
Right. Okay, yes.
So then, why?
Yeah, okay.
That's just my take, though.
However, in our games, the dead are truly down for the count, thank you to the red. Well, she might have confused people in the world of the game board, she can't confuse us up here like that. In other words, the most obvious possible goal for her isn't the real one.
In that case, what are the other 2 possible reasons for carrying out plotline murders?
Another one is coincidence. A crime just happens to resemble the epitaph without anyone in particular trying to make it do so, and the witnesses mistakenly think it's a plotline murder. Humans try to find cause and effect in everything they see. If we think we know that something is, then that's how it looks to us.
I see. That's intriguing too. But would that really work? In this child's games, advance notice of the crime is always given before the murders of the first twilight. Also, I believe you've repeatedly found letters and circumstantial evidence that clearly show that the culprit is carrying out epitaph murders.
Yeah, that's right. It isn't coincidence. From the very beginning, Beatrice has been advancing with the goal of making it look like a series of epitaph murders.
And we also know that this is like, whether or not that's their goal, they clearly have a intention and plan to set that up, make it up look like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have the stakes planned in advance. That is a non-trivial amount of work and commitment to do.
Yeah.
You don't just get 7 awls out of the garden shed, right? Like, these are like embellished, emblazoned, specific stakes. Like that's too much forethought. You know what I mean? This is clearly part of someone's plan.
What if they are just alls out of the garden shed and our viewpoint characters are just such spoiled rich brats that they don't know what one looks like and are like, what the fuck? This is some kind of demonic weapon.
I mean, well, no, because they describe them explicitly at one point as having the designs on the handle.
Yeah.
But yeah. So like, even if it's just carving those designs into some alls or whatever, right? That's still a non-trivial amount of work to set this up.
Yep.
This was, at least part of that was planned.
We weren't mistaken about that. These are clear plotline murders, so this motive or lack of motive doesn't work either.
In that case, there's only one motive left, right?
I wonder what it is.
The last one is because they want to show someone something. More specifically, fear. By following the epitaph, she gives the others clear notice in advance that the murders will continue. The survivors are in constant fear of the murders, which they're certain will continue.
Beata doesn't seem really happy with that explanation, does she?
Yeah, but you'll notice the first part of it wants to show someone something.
Yeah, that.
And the bit that something is fear, those don't necessarily go together.
Right. Battler is guessing at fear being the thing they want to show.
In other words, this child performed these epitaph murders to make someone feel the fear of death.
Or at least that it would explain things pretty well. The grotesque mutilation of corpses and the dark decorations were all a show to terrify us.
Also, this discussion makes me feel really vindicated about the skit we went for in our Answer Arcs announcement video.
Oh, yeah?
About like how Beatrice, there was something Beatrice was trying to say and couldn't say it. I was really worried about that. Like I knew that was kind of a shot in the dark, but I like an educated guess, but like still a guess. So I'm glad that turned out to be vindicated.
To terrify whom?
Huh? Well, like I said, us.
Huh. To hearing that one line Virgilia spoke so casually, my thoughts clouded over once again. Is it really sufficient to use the vague word, us?
And why does Beatrice have this specific thing about Battler?
Is it to cause one specific person fear? There are many humans in the Ushiromiya family. There's the head, and one of us who holds the rank of his successor, grandfather and Uncle Kraus. There's the relatives who have some pull in the business world. On the other side, you have the young cousins who usually visit at most once a year. And the unfortunate servants who just happened to be on duty that day. Even if the culprit hates all of us, there should be clear differences in how much they hate some of us compared to others, right? So it should be possible to pick out people among us.
Sus!
Stop it! Let me monologue. So there should be possible to pick out people among us that the... Damn it! It's spreading. I can't stop it. Ugh. Bernie, stop it! Get out of my head. No. You're red, so therefore you're sus.
That's not even my real hair color. I think we've established that this is embellished.
So it should be possible to pick out people among us that the culprit especially wanted to terrorize or have revenge against. Shit, I could never say that phrase again, ever.
I know, right?
It's so terrible.
If we follow this teleologically, the end point of human communication will just be a fucking Tower of Babel situation where the moment we open our mouths to each other, We fall down in peals of unbridled laughter and can communicate nothing because all phrases have been reduced to mimetically hilarious status and there's nothing left to have content and communicate with. I think that's beautiful.
Battler, look, it says Amung Pequeño on it.
I don't even understand. Is just saying the name of it funny now?
Yeah.
If we liken this to a kid eating dessert, isn't the strawberry on top of a shortcake the part you should eat last? No one tells you that you shouldn't eat it first, but our mentality encourages us to save it for later.
I want strawberry shortcake.
God, now I do too.
In that case, the culprit would want to leave the person they hated most until the end.
Ooh!
Who is it that always survives? Right? Always. No matter what's going on, who is the one person that's always there at the very end?
Yeah, like that line by my favorite character in this novel I like. Something about how the worst way to kill someone is to murder those close to them first. Make them as miserable as possible, and only kill the person then.
I wonder what that's a reference. That's clearly a reference, but I don't know what to.
Oh my, that must have been quite a terrifying novel. How frightening. Ooh.
In that case, you could argue that the people who stay alive until the end are the ones that Beato hates the most. However, every single time the order people get killed changes around completely. If we try to counting up the people who live until the last twilight every single time, even though they do die in the end. Oh. Fuck. Oh, fuck.
Can we just get one Beatrice among us?
Among Us.
What? What? Beatrice, you're alive?
No.
Oh, fuck.
I'm the only one.
Let me first speak with the Red. Battler-kun isn't the culprit.
We knew that.
Battler-kun didn't kill anyone.
We did also get that in red earlier.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
We did.
This can be said of all games.
I don't think we got that this can be said of all games in red earlier, but it was... Because I think it was on the fourth game that we got this red text, but I think it was also implied that, this is, the status quo.
Those little neck ruffles that the witches have must get itchy. I just realized it's not, connected to the outfit or anything, but it's also not just like a choker or a necklace. It's like a full-on collar.
I mean, I used to wear a collar for a while. It's pretty comfy.
Yeah, but not like that. It's all covered
Sure, that's
with,
all roughly.
Yeah, it's all roughly. It's just like this fabric collar that's not attached to the dress. It's just separate.
And just to be clear, I don't mean as a sex thing. That's something just as a walking around thing. It was a weird time in my life. It's comfy though.
Then that just makes it even more likely that it's me. It means the sole reason she had for bringing up about the Epitaph murders was to show them to me.
Every time Beato brags that she'll choose whom to kill next with a roulette. However, I'm the only one she never kills. Though she does kill me in the end, she leaves me be until the very last moment. And all of these supposedly random games, there's only this one unchanging constant. I mean, yeah, she did say
she wants revenge? Against me? So is she performing the Epitaph murders to make me feel fear?
So this does jive with what we thought. I don't think we made the connection that it was about intimidating Battler. But we did reason out before that these were happening because of him.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That the game, it's because of this guy, right?
Yeah.
This fucking non-glasses guy.
Because Battler has a sin.
Yep.
That's wrong. Her goal is not to make someone experience fear. And it isn't to have revenge on someone either.
Interesting. In that case, the Epitaph murders really don't mean anything to her. The Epitaph's riddle is meaningless, and the corresponding Epitaph murders are also meaningless. X equals Y equals 0. But even so, she's clearly trying to show these meaningless things to me.
Have you ever gone on Twitter?
Oh shit. Wait, what?
QED.
Virgilia, are you hearing that?
No.
I feel like, oh my god, she's living rent-free in my head now.
And no one's invented Twitter yet anyway.
Oh my god, shut up about Twitter.
Battler-kun, what is this Twitter you're talking about?
I don't know. What could she want from me that'd be worth the same to her as something meaningless? I don't get it. The more I think about it, the less I understand what she's thinking. Beatrice, the fickle witch who committed a meaningless, worthless string of serial murders. Even the epitaph's riddle, which that witch used as the trigger that could suspend the serial murders, is meaningless, immaterial. And yet she's thrusting this meaningless, immaterial thing in front of my face. What is it that you want from me? Or else, what is it that you're giving me? My idea that Beato has clearly been taking revenge on me has already been denied by Virgilia's red truth. Both X and Y, both the epitaph murders and the epitaph's riddle, hold no meaning for Beatrice. X equals Y equals 0. However, since she's thrusting those things in front of me, they must have some meaning. She showed us the scales representing if you don't solve the epitaph, I'll carry out the epitaph murders. In other words, neither the epitaph murders nor the epitaph's riddle have any significance by themselves. However, it becomes meaningful when she puts both halves on the scales and puts them on display before us. No, before me. In other words, it should be like this. X equals 0, Y equals 0. X plus Y is greater than 0. A scale with meaningless, weightless things on both sides. However, it has weight itself and gives the rest meaning. It's almost like playing. Like kids playing rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors is an extremely familiar method of randomly determining a winner and a loser. You sometimes wager some sort of reward on the outcome, but kids often do rock, paper, scissors just to play without betting anything in particular. Unless you bet something, you have nothing to gain or lose except happiness and frustration. In other words, the two sides of the scale, both winning and losing, are immaterial. However, the very act of seeing which way it will tip is the reason kids play rock, paper, scissors. After all, the kids are enjoying the communication that surrounds the game, and they aren't purely interested in the value of winning or losing. They aren't overly concerned about who wins and who loses. That would mean it doesn't matter to Beato whether the epitaph murders succeed or not. It almost feels like she's just enjoying the process. In the past, I cursed her, deciding that she was a heartless witch who kept murdering people for no reason. But right now, I can't imagine that that's true.
Thank you. In that case, I'll give you one more line of red. Beato never committed murder for the sake of pleasure.
She didn't do it for pleasure, and she didn't do it to make anyone feel fear. Since she has nothing to gain, she doesn't care whether the epitaph murders succeed or fail. It's almost like a random game kids would play. That's not right. It does have meaning. It has meaning for her.
And what is this meaning?
I don't get it. Even though both sides of the scale are immaterial, the scale itself has some weight to it in her eyes. Of course it isn't meaningless. Some meaning definitely exists. In the previous game, she urged me to try to remember my sin of 6 years ago. Am I supposed to believe that was meaningless too? No, that definitely isn't the case. I clearly remember the serious gaze Beato had back then. Unfortunately, I didn't have a clue what she meant. When she saw that, she was horribly dejected. That's right. At that time, I'm sure she even went so far as to say that the crime wouldn't have occurred if I hadn't come. It does have a meaning. It means something to her. And it's connected to something that she wants from me. Is it head pets? Do you want head pets? Let me try head pets. No reaction. I laughed softly and poked Beato
Yeah? Yeah?
Wow. This game and I are on the same wavelength. We just don't stop. Oh my god. I laughed softly and poked Beato lightly on the head, and then patted her head. This game. Next time you want to send a love letter, I suggest you just write I love you. If you make it too roundabout and confusing, no one's going to be able to figure it out. I still don't have a clue what she's thinking, by the way. Even so, I won't stop thinking. I've only just started spinning the chessboard around. Can't you see my smug little W face?
Chessboard RPM is merely at about 1 or 2 RPM. We can go much faster.
We can go so much faster. I definitely won't give up on this journey in search of your thoughts. Well.
Well, indeed.
Well. I think we should probably do another one for this episode.
All right.
This is only about an hour or so. There's going to be a recording break here, and I'll cut it out, but, you know, that's just how it goes. There was no recording break there. You did not see anything. Not Suhi. It'll come to me. Just give me a moment. Battler did nothing but gaze blankly out the window. The fighting between the relatives went on without end. At first, the relatives had crowded around the study. However, no matter how much they knocked, the master of the study did not answer even once. Ava and several others said they should open the door with the second key, the one that Genji held. However, in a flash of brilliance, Natsuhi said that Kinzo had been in a particularly bad mood and had taken back the key he had previously given Genji, which meant that he now had both keys to himself. She claimed that this was the reason they couldn't open the door and get on the floor. After she promised to let them meet Kinzo tomorrow morning no matter what, they finally returned to the dining hall. But of course the argument continued on even there. Ava's group needed a lot of cash very soon, and they were trying to threaten Kraus somehow and make him pay up. Apparently Battler solving the epitaph threatened Kraus's position as the successor, which gave the others a powerful tailwind. On the other side, Kraus and Natsuhi based their argument on the claim that it had never been specified that ownership of the gold would be handed over to the person who solved the epitaph. It hadn't been hidden gold, but simply Kinzo's stockpile, and it was still Kinzo's property, which meant it would naturally be distributed after Kinzo's death with the rest of the inheritance. Once they made that claim, Ava's group once again started demanding to be allowed to see Kinzo. It had probably been obvious to them from the beginning. This sibling fight could only be settled by Kinzo. This was obviously a confrontation between Ava's group, which wanted cash fast, and Kraus, who was hiding his lack of funds but still didn't need money right away. It's gonna go to the moon, baby! Just wait until it starts mooning, Natsuhi! Ugh! Can we get a Natsuhi grunt?
Ah, my stars!
What? What? That's what the kids say these days. Just wait until you see all these funny little monkeys I've purchased. So he listened vaguely to this exchange. Battler marveled at how, despite their usual affluent airs, they were surprisingly deep in debt.
Gotta love it.
Didn't you say the same thing a short while ago? Enough. Let us take a break. Let us, put on a sandwich. We're all repeating the same things over and over again. According to the clock, it was almost midnight. It was certainly a perfect time for a break. The atmosphere relaxed just a bit.
I agree. It'll be good for both sides to take a breather. Hey, why don't we start keeping a record when we start up again? I'm tired of fighting over what was or wasn't said.
Seriously, we really can't do without a record of proceedings. Not when Nissan can so easily deny something he said before the words stop reverberating off the walls. A mere written record could be a pain and it'd be an easy target for forgery.
Good point. Aniki, want to fire this up? Tape set, is it? I see. This way we can keep even a record without bothering to write it down, and a forgery will be impossible. It is fair for both sides. We know there are good and valid points on both sides.
Make sure you don't mess anything up. Those are Father's precious music tapes.
Interesting. Okay, hold on. No, this is interesting. So Kinzo has a tape player and apparently precious music tapes?
Yeah?
Interesting. And apparently there's also a microphone that goes along with it. Because they're talking like very casually about them being able to record themselves.
Did you have a tape set when you grew up?
I did. And it wasn't hard to have it record stuff like off the radio, but having it just record stuff around you needed a microphone for that. That's not a trivial amount. That's not a trivial peripheral to have.
The one I had did have an onboard mic.
Really? Okay.
But I also don't know if my Walkman-esque thing or whatever was a normal one or a special one or what. But the one I had did have an onboard mic.
I still have mine. It's in the other room. It's my CD player.
Oh, because yours is the boombox, right?
Mine's is the boombox, the CD player, tape recorder. Yeah, tape player.
Because I was thinking of like the Walkman thing. Because I had the portable tape Walkman, and I think I also still have mine. Though I don't know if it's here or if it's at my family's place or where. But it had a mic as well as like the radio and thingies.
Still, that's important to know.
Yeah.
So they do have a way of replicating. I know I said this is kind of like a bullshit thing, and I don't believe it anymore, because obviously we've had an explanation for that scene. But I mentioned at one point them having like recordings of Kinzo's voice at some point.
Yeah. It'd be useful.
It'd be useful.
In fact, it'd be really funny if the reason the tapes were precious were because it wasn't music, and when they play it back, they'll be like, what the fuck? This is just Kinzo talking. I remember him saying these things last year.
Verbatim. The dignified tape set had a sense of weight to it that matched this majestic dining hall perfectly. On pleasant Sunday mornings, it would sometimes be used to play famous tapes or records. Put on Bitches Brew. Give me some of that.
Wait. We have to know what each of the siblings listens to.
Okay. This is a sidebar, but I think you'll agree it's an important
Yes,
start.
it's extremely important.
Okay. Are we doing contemporary music? Because I don't know if I can't. I do have a wealth of like 70s music knowledge, but it's mostly like classic rock oriented.
That's fine.
All right, cool. Let's try that. Because this is what, 84?
Everyone loves dad rock.
84, right?
Yeah,
early 80s?
something like that.
Okay, cool. Let's see. Krause listens to the Beatles because no one's ever told him what music is.
Woo!
Rudolph listens to... What does Rudolph listen to? He probably listens to... New Wave started coming out around this time, right? No, that's Kyrie. Kyrie listens to New Wave.
Oh, yeah. Kyrie's got the kind of goth look and all.
Rudolph listens to Brit rock.
Okay.
Yep. What about Hideyoshi?
Country and Western.
Of course. How about Natsuhi? EDM.
I don't think so.
Natsuhi listens to nothing but psychedelic rock.
Really?
Helps her zone out and focus.
Helps with the headaches.
Oh, yeah. My stars, I just put on Odyssey and Oracle, and I'm set for the evening.
I suppose you do need something to have your lengthy hallucinations of your comfort character, Kinzo.
Oh my, is that the Piper at the Gates of Dawn? What about Rosa? Nursery rhymes on loop.
Really? God, that's twisted.
There's layers to that. All right, let's move on. However, right now it was the most neutral and impartial conference record keeper around. Rudolph fished randomly around the cassette rack, searching for a blank tape. And every time he found some tape with sophisticated music on it, he complained about how pompous it was.
So he hates sophisticated music.
Yeah, Brit rock. He's like he'd listen to like the Who or something.
Okay.
What is this, music concrete? I don't understand this stuff. Pardon me. You called? I'm also a fan of the alt-rock band Incubus.
Woo!
That is not a contemporary reference, but I said the phrase pardon me, so I feel like I had to do it.
We're taking a break. Sorry, but could you make us something to drink?
Poison? Yes.
And maybe some biscuits would be nice too.
Certainly. I will see to it right away.
Also, sorry, but do you have any cold medicine? I've been feeling a bit feverish.
Haha. Then don't overstrain yourself and get some sleep, Rosa.
If you really feel like it, why not get some sleep, Rosa? Of course I wouldn't step out of such an important conference because of a simple cold.
Why is Ava like this?
Right? Because she's Ava. Like she's
She's even bullying her own side here.
Because Ava's a hashtag girl boss. Allow me to take a rest as well. Natsuhi, why don't we take a short rest too?
If Ava was in a hostage situation as the hostage taker, she'd absolutely take as a hostage her own accomplices and stuff.
Complaining will get you nowhere. You've got to take what life gives you and grab it by the throat. As a wise man once said, if life gives you lemons, make life take the lemons back.
That's Natsuhi, by the way.
Yes, dear.
Sensing that he meant to have a strategy meeting, Natsuhi stood up. Even if that hadn't been the case, she was so desperate to get out of the room for even a moment that she would have taken any excuse. Kraus and Natsuhi left the dining hall, and the tension in the room truly relaxed.
You've been doing great, Battlegoon. I imagine you just feel horrible. Think of this as a part of growing up and just accept it.
No!
Just accept everything that's been put before you.
No! That's the worst advice.
Just accept everything that's been put before you, Battler.
This is not a normal part of growing up. You should not accept this.
Just how long am I going to...
Just stepping out of character for a moment here. Don't accept this kind of treatment.
Okay, no. I think it's vitally important. And I don't think the game is trying to tell you that.
Yeah.
That's not the takeaway here. Just how long am I going to have to sit around here doing nothing?
Who knows? After all, you're like our own portable shrine now. Sleepy?
About as much as in your average school class.
I'm pretty sure Father isn't going to show up tonight anyway. I'm very sure about it, actually. When Kraus, Nissan, and the rest come back, I'll propose that we might as well let you go.
I'll be counting on you. A light knock and the faint sound of china clinking together could be heard.
Excuse us?
Oh my god, she's up.
We brought tea. Except for that one. Because even I...
Trella. What was that, Cannon? You want to say it a little bit louder and finish it so all the rest of us can hear it?
No.
Oh, well, it was worth a shot. Shannon and Cannon had come with a serving cart. The pleasant smell of black tea had the effect of relieving a bit of the tension. Hey, did you hear?
Hear about what?
We haven't heard anything. Don't worry. We definitely weren't listening in. Stop it, Rudolph. There's no reason to tell them. We are furniture, so we have no interest in matters concerning the family conference. I see. Is that weirdly off-putting to anyone else? Just no? Okay. Well, that's a wise answer.
You have the midnight shift? That must be rough. That is our job. We would be happy to receive your orders. Makes sense to me. At least that'd be better than sitting round awake doing nothing. When I was still down in the bottom rungs, I once worked as warehouse keeper. Even if you're just staying awake, it's still pretty tough. Right after the war, you had robbers all over the place, plus you couldn't rely on the police back then, so it was a pretty dangerous time.
Hideyoshi has absolutely killed someone. Hideyoshi was particularly proud of how he'd started with nothing and built up assets by illegally diverting goods from the American army.
Wow!
Wow. I mean...
Praxis?
I mean, yeah, that's kind of praxis. I can't be angry at the man, because that, like, yeah, if you're going to do that, yeah, that's... yeah, all right. Once the subject came up, Hideyoshi tended to get pretty talkative. The relatives who knew this were greatly relieved to see that a perfect sacrifice had come up.
If you got found out, you were in for it big time. Those Americandy people are scary. Their strength's in another league because of all that beef they eat. If you got caught, it'd end with them shooting you or death by hanging. Get it? Death by hanging. Oh yeah, and then I figured it out. It's all about the meat. Japanese people gotta eat more meat. And that's when I got the revelation that I needed to start up a business to win over people's stomachs. I see.
Shannon looking increasingly concerned.
Sure, Hideyoshi.
Uh-huh.
That must have been quite a difficult task.
Stop it, dear. No matter how much you tell people born after the war, they'll never understand how we suffered back then.
Oh, interesting. So Shannon and Cannon weren't born. I mean, like, yeah.
Yeah,
but
we knew that, though, right?
yeah, still, it's good to have it in black and white, you know?
Oops, looks like my bad habits jumped out again. Sorry. You two should have some black tea as well. Every now and then, I think it might be helpful for you to use your own tongues to learn more about the tea you're always brewing.
No, we'll be fine. This one's poisoned, you understand. There's no need to be concerned for our sakes.
Hang out with us for a bit. Being surrounded by adults makes me feel like we're gonna suffocate. Hear that? That's an order from Battler-sama, the successor. Sit over there and have some oh my god, Rudolph, you opened your fucking mouth.
Oh no, Rudolph.
Sit over there and have some tea with us. Then you can talk about recent events, your hobbies, TV shows, whatever you're watching, and whatever it is that's popular with kids these days. A lot we could learn.
That's a brilliant idea. Come on, you two. Sit down, you two. Why don't you become sacrifices for us now that we crave something to talk about?
Sacrifices for us, you say?
This entire conversation is just like red flags, red flags, red flags, red flags.
I'm going to get the fuck out of here.
That's right. I thought it'd be nice to talk to some young kids, but that'd be pretty hard when I'm too old to even to go to a cabaret club.
How long are you planning on standing around there? Rudolph told you to sit. Sit down. I give you permission as well.
After getting Ava's permission, Shannon and Cannon looked at each other and finally obeyed, nervously. Why Ava's permission? Interesting. For a while, the two were pounded by questions and became the relatives' playthings. And then, a reserved knocking sound could be heard. All of the servants tended to knock in a similar manner, so no one found it strange. However, Shannon and Cannon turned around with surprised looks on their faces. They clearly weren't very eager to drink that tea, were they?
Yeah?
The servants here today included two of them, Genji, Kumasawa, and Goda. Goda had the midnight shift at the guest house. Kumasawa had gone to bed in a spare room in the guest house. The two of them were right here, so Genji was the only person left, but they knew very well that Genji wouldn't knock like that. Who is it? It's not locked, just come in. Rudolph didn't recognize the knock either. When he asked who is it, it became apparent that no one knew whose knock it was. After that, the same knock-knock repeated just once more. Could it be that someone had their hands full and was asking for the door to be opened for them? A slightly odd feeling began to encompass the room. The sound of the large clock in the hall could be heard. It was a sign that October 4th had ended and October 5th had begun. Let's step back in time a bit. At this time, Kraus and Natsuhi were a ways off in a deserted corridor on the second floor. So we no longer have any other options.
Yes. The same move probably won't last us all day tomorrow. If we hesitate any longer, there's a chance Ava-san and the others will call the police, claiming that we have Father locked up somewhere. This is as far as we can go.
Nah.
Battler-kun finding the gold was completely unexpected. If that hadn't happened, I'd thought of a plan which might have managed to get us through this somehow.
This always happens when I bet on something. Something unexpected always happens, and something that should have been an absolute certainty goes wrong.
What is this about certainty?
One with certainty, Natsuhi.
Ah,
Moon tourism. It'll be taking off. It'll rocket soon enough. It'll break up in the atmosphere. I'm out of.
I sure hope it does not break up in the atmosphere.
I think this is Natsuhi again.
Is it?
I think so. Yeah, because Natsuhi's the one that does the planning.
Okay, I thought that I just said the last line.
Oh, no, I did.
Oh, you did? Oh, yeah, you did. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's arrange for Father's room to be empty starting tomorrow morning. Let's plan it out with Genji and have him say he saw Father heading out into the forest early in the morning.
I doubt he and the others will simply accept such a disappearance.
I'm fully aware of that. However, we have no other options.
If we do such a thing, even the others will doubtless make a fuss that our actions were suspicious. They aren't worried about appearances as long as they can squeeze some money out of us. We might end up in some odd magazine and cause serious damage to the confidence placed in me.
Damage is something we can live with, right?
What's the point of an HP bar if you don't use the resource?
Yeah. As long as your life total's above 1.
That's a really fucking bleak way of looking at things, but
I have developed very bad life habits from playing Magic the Gathering collectible card game.
I was going to say I developed very bad life habits by living under capitalism. That's a reference to my most recently released game, The Green Bar, which you can play now on 8pr.itch.io.
One of us sounds like one of us here doesn't channel black mana.
Both of the decks I've played recently have been black, so I don't like what the hell do you want from me? The first deck I ever built on my own was a black deck.
If by any chance Father's secret is discovered, we'll face a lot worse. Oh,
Yeah, this is still not
we'll
Natsuhi.
face a lot worse than mere damage.
It's an Underworld Dreams deck, by the way. That was the first deck I built back in high school. I was very proud of it.
Pretty cool.
I still have it together. There's nothing wrong with persisting until the last possible second tomorrow. If we're able to make it through safely, we won't have to lose anything. There's no need to get impatient and use that trump card.
You want to wait until after they start clambering about how we've locked Father up and then say he's gone missing? That way would invite much more suspicion. Let's just put Father to rest now. To go any further would be impossible.
Calm yourself, Natsuhi. Being exposed to even the others' venom too much has made you lose your composure, that's all. Only 2 keys exist that can let anyone into that study, and you have both of them right here. That means no one can go inside. The door's of a very special make. No matter what kind of tools they bring into the storage room, it won't even budge.
It isn't a physical problem like that.
Please, don't be hasty and calm down. In any event, you can pretend to have gotten a fever and stay in bed. In the meantime, I will overcome all of this for you.
That's what I'm afraid of. I can't leave everything to you.
Oh, that's so kind of you to say. No, not like that.
I'll fight until the end, too.
When Natsuhi could no longer hold back the tears brought on by her fierce emotions, Kraus held her gently. Just how long had it been since the last time she'd felt the warmth of her husband's compassion? Your headache must be awful, yes? It's always that way when you wrinkle your forehead like that.
Dear.
She had come to think that her husband could never guess the way she felt. But at times like this, let's wait for the very last moment before using our disappearance trump card. Like a last resort, treasured sword.
What color would you say that sword is?
I never saw a reason to give it a color. I guess maybe
think on
gray,
Think on
silvery,
it.
metal. I'll think on it. It's best when it remains in its sheath. The important thing is that you're ready to pull it out at any time, correct?
I understand that.
Would you let me handle that trump card? Of course, at the final moment, I will take all responsibility. I won't let you and Jessica get involved.
What do you mean by that?
When you show me a family is destroyed, it is enough that I alone am crushed in the rubble. When the typhoon passes, let's make sure we're ready to file for divorce. I will sign the papers and let you hold on to them. I've secretly left some of my assets in your name. If you add on some compensation money, that should be enough for you and Jessica to live on without any hindrances.
No.
Wow. That's both, like, willing to go down with his ship and, like, be like, no, and I've already got this set up to save you, too, as well.
That surprises me.
That...
Also, Natsuhi should take that deal immediately.
Right. It surprises me, and the fact that it surprises me makes me think, is this happening?
Yeah.
Because whose word do we have that this scene happens? Natsuhi and Kraus, right?
Yeah.
Which one of them lives until tomorrow morning? Just Natsuhi. Pretty sure? I already forgot who died, but... wait, do we get to see who died? No, okay, it won't show us who died yet, but I remember Natsuhi's alive, because Natsuhi's the one that gets fingered by Erika. Gotta pick a new verb.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Not gonna justify it. Gotta pick a new verb.
Ushiromiya Natsuhi is the name that should be engraved on my tombstone. Please let me be with you until the very last moment. Even if it turns out that you're the last head of the Ushiromiya family, please let Natsuhi be the name of the wife of the final head. Your wife.
Kraus's existence was founded solely upon the trust and power of his assets as a financial fixer. If either of those weakened, nothing would remain. If they used the trump card of Kinzo's disappearance, they would lose one of those two essential supports. It was like offering your right arm in exchange for your neck being cut. It was probably better than losing your head, but you might still die from the blood loss. And even on the off chance you did survive, you'd have to bear a heavy wound that wouldn't heal for the rest of your life. Kraus was prepared even for death. Understanding this, Natsuhi buried her face in Kraus's chest and cried. My apologies for interrupting whatever the fuck that was. The sudden appearance of Genji's voice made Natsuhi jump back and hurriedly wipe the tears from her eyes. Nothing personnel. Kraus stood in front of Natsuhi, shielding her. Genji-san, please, don't sneak up on us like that. Do you have some business here? Yes. My apologies, but I have something to report to Madam.
To me? Dear.
I don't mind. Kraus left Natsuhi's side, went to a window a short ways off, and gazed at the windy and rainy rose garden. Natsuhi went with Genji to a place a short distance away.
What is it?
Well, the truth is, another phone call has come for you, madam. Do we know for sure if the call is coming from inside the building right now?
I don't think we do know that for sure yet.
Right. Because we know that when the phone lines have been cut, the lines that happen to off the island have been cut, but not generally the ones on the island. We talked about this already tonight. So if we do hear something like, oh yeah, the lines have been cut later on, we'll know that this was someone on the island making this call.
Yeah. Let's think real quick.
Yep.
Who could it have been if it was someone on the island? It wasn't someone who was in that room.
You're right. It wasn't someone in that room.
Because we just heard the clock chime. We know the timing.
Yep. Kumasawa, Goda, maybe.
Any of the kids except for
George, Jessica, Maria. That's about it. Right? Yeah, that's it.
That's weird. That's a weird selection.
Could be, I guess Goda would be the one to pursue. Oh, Nanjo too. Nanjo as well. I don't know why Nanjo would go around biting the hand that feeds him, though.
Erika.
Oh, right, because we don't hear the voice this time. That is true.
That's true.
But let's see what Genji says about it. At that moment, a sudden, eerie sound surprised her. It was the large clock in the hall announcing midnight.
You don't mean that man again?
Yes. What is to be done?
Did he say what business he had with me?
Plus, if it was someone on the island, Genji would recognize the voice.
True, but Genji could have reasons not to say.
Also true? But given that Natsuhi's his direct report, that would have to be someone with more over him than Natsuhi does. I guess we don't know enough about Genji to know if that's
Yeah.
true or not.
My
So-
thought being just like, what can we for sure?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
There are certain things we can for sure know, at least.
I can give you no answer on that matter. He kept insisting that he wanted to speak to you directly.
Again, a phone call from the man who claimed to be taking revenge for something that happened 19 years ago. 19 years. That was just 1 year before Jessica and Battler were born. In Natsuhi's eyes, the gap between 19 years ago and 18 years ago was immense. So that was when they were still trying to have children,
Yep.
right? George had been born at this point. They were trying to play catch up and make sure that they could also have an heir, because they felt really uncomfortable that they, as the first in line, didn't have a child, but Ava already did.
Yep.
Could they have had a child then? And no, because they would have had every reason in the world to like go over hell and hide to make sure they would keep that child. There's no way they would do some, like, they had every motivation to make sure that they could keep that child if they had one.
Yeah. Unless it wasn't a they thing, unless it was just Natsuhi. If Natsuhi had been unfaithful or something.
Yeah, but
Though we don't have anything that suggests that yet.
did we? I know we heard that they had tried unsuccessfully to have a child for a while. Did we ever hear that Natsuhi had maybe had a miscarriage or something?
I don't know that we did.
I don't think we've ever heard anything like that. Because if we had heard something like that, that would be like a good cover up for like, oh, got pregnant, had a child, but didn't work out. You know what I mean? That could be a cover for that. Because you don't get pregnant and lose a child and not have people notice.
True.
Anyway, for a long time she had been unable to fulfill her role of creating a successor for the Ushiromiya family and had been treated very coldly. Actually, how does this look on our new background? That looks really cool, actually.
Yeah.
But then she finally gave birth to Jessica and became able to call herself the Ushiromiya successor's wife with her head held high. So, in her eyes, Ushiromiya Natsuhi began 18 years ago. Interesting. That's why everything before that, including the events of 19 years ago, contained nothing but hateful memories. The events of 19 years ago, is that meant to be like there's something specific in her head that is the events of 19 years ago, or it's just like in general, oh yeah, whatever happened 19 years ago is nothing that she can...
19 years ago was the time we were given in the phone call.
Right.
Is why 19 years ago.
Well, I know why 19. I just meant like by the way they phrased it, is there like some event that she knows about that she was referring to as the events of 19 years ago? Or does the events of 19 years ago just mean whatever happened in that time? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
And something from the last year of that hateful period is whispering vengeful words from the other end of the phone. I can still hear the roar of the sea. You hear the wave sounds? And
Yeah.
what is to be done?
Transfer it to my room. Don't let my husband know.
As you wish. From the very beginning, Genji had guessed that she wouldn't want Kraus hearing about this phone call. That is why he had told Natsuhi covertly. Natsuhi ordered that he transfer the call, told Kraus that she would return in for the night, and left at a quick pace. She sleeps in a different room than Kraus does.
Yeah.
I know we pointed that out before, but like they don't sleep together. She returned to her room and locked the door. There was nothing peculiar about that. In the Ushiromiya family, hallways are like public roads. There's no special meaning in locking the door when you enter your own room. This is what she told herself. Then, as though it had been waiting for her, the telephone rang. Genji had probably transferred the call. She took a deep breath, readied herself, and picked up the receiver. As it just me, this chapter had a lot of very sudden background transitions. Have you noticed that as well?
I don't know.
It's just shocking to me.
Hello?
Again, it started with silence. She realized that the person at the other end was trying to irritate her and make her feel uncomfortable, and she got angry.
Why are you silent? I'm hanging up.
Do not hang up, mother. I want to hear your voice a little longer. Again, that unpleasant voice. I'm giving them the same voice as Battler because someone in the live stream informed us that this person had the same VA as Battler's VA.
Oh, okay.
So they're just getting neutral battler voice.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Are you trying to mock me?
I don't know if that, I don't think it means anything, but
Tell me what you want.
I want to play with you, Mother.
What? What are you talking about? I have no desire to play with you.
You are tired from the family conference, right? Is that chronic headache of yours starting to be a pain?
That's none of your business.
Just the fact that he knew her headache was troubling her made a shiver run up her spine. You get headaches because your head is all stiff. If you go straight to bed like that, you cannot expect to have good dreams.
Haven't I told you that's none of your business? I'm hanging up.
Natsuhi forcefully yelled that she was hanging up, but in actuality, she couldn't. After all, being at the receiving end of a phone call was much better than the alternative. If she hung up violently, this person might then call someone else. Let's play a game to help you relax. I will not take up much of your time.
I have no intention of playing with you.
Your name is Natsuhi, Mother. It is the kanji for a season in it. Pretty nice name. However, just because your name is Natsuhi, that does not necessarily mean that you like summer. Which season do you really like, Mother?
You think I'll tell you?
If you do not, I will hang up. Is that all right? Why doesn't she want them to hang up? It was clearly a threat. It meant that if she forced him to hang up the phone, anything might happen. Humiliated that she was forced to give in to a threat made by a man whose name she didn't even know, she gave him the answer that he wanted.
It's autumn.
And why is that?
Because it's an easy season to pass the time in. Easy breezy.
What kind of a conversation is this?
There's no other reason in particular. Are you satisfied now?
Yeah, I'm satisfied. So it looks like your favorite season really is the same as mine. I like autumn too.
Liar. You just made that up.
Surely this man would have done the same thing no matter which season I said I liked. What is he after? What is so fun about making me uncomfortable like this? It's not nice to call someone a liar. I am not making it up. I already knew you liked autumn, Mother. There's even proof.
Proof?
Yeah. Is there a clock in your room, Mother?
A clock? Yes, there is, but what's your point?
In Natsuhi's room, there was a beautiful antique clock with an intricate design. Kraus had bought it for her as a birthday present long ago. It's 12:07 right now. I'm tired, so please get this farce over with. Oh,
It's 12:07 right now. I'm tired, so please get this farce over with quickly.
try lifting the clock up.
Why?
You really do not know when to shut up. Stop resisting every single time I say something. Just shut up and do what I say. The tone of the man's voice suddenly went low, turning into a threat. It made his displeasure clear. And at first this man seemed to have a calm way of speaking, but on the inside that wasn't the case at all. If she enraged this man even a little more, he would surely show his true nature right away. Are you really that eager to make me hang up? Things are best when I talk on the phone with you. I could tell your husband and daughter about what happened 19 years ago anytime I want to.
I don't know what you're talking about, but please don't get my husband and daughter involved. I'm listening to everything you say.
Then just do what you are told. Once again, the man threatened her in a low voice, as though warning her not to interrupt again. My head was filled with the pain from my headache, the sound of my beating heart, and the roar of the sea. I can't disobey him anymore. As the man had ordered, I lifted up the antique clock.
Huh?
There lay what appeared to be a single playing card. Is it the warranty for the clock? Thinking this, she took it and turned it over. Are you wide awake now?
Why is this here?
Well, it would please me if your headache's gone down a bit. Tell me that you are happy, Mother.
How did you? Why? How?
I want to hear you say you're happy, murderer. How dare you act like a normal neat freak, Mother? You make me want to vomit. Do you want that to land on your husband and daughter as well? You don't, right? You want me to keep quiet, don't you? Okay, I'll keep quiet. Come on, aren't you happy? Aren't you?
Ah, God, I'm happy. So please stop. Don't bring my husband and daughter into this. What is it that you want? Money? How much?
I do not want money. My wounds could not be healed with any amount of money. But there is a medicine. That is right. It's kind of like an ointment. Thick, syrupy, and dribbling. And that is my hatred. My resentment towards you. Slathering myself with that is the only way to hold back the pain. Also, I've moved now into like a different voice, but I feel
That's fine.
It's
That's
working.
fine.
It's working. It's working.
Do whatever moves you.
I'm feeling it, I'm being inspired now by the main antagonist of Somnium Files.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, so let me know if I'm nailing it. Natsuki had never had anything so hateful said to her in her entire life. So she suspected many times that she must be having some sort of bad dream. However, this definitely wasn't a dream.
You couldn't possibly be on this island right now, are you?
I am. Did I not promise you? I said I would be at the family conference.
That's impossible. There's no way you could have come during this typhoon.
That would have been no problem if it came before the typhoon reached here. And I'm pretty sure this guest called Erica or whatever arrived even during the typhoon. Her blood froze. Furudo Erica had supposedly been brought here by coincidence. If he knew that name, he would have to be very close by.
Where are you?
I will not appear in front of anyone until you introduce me. Do not worry. Oh yes, it's useless to try and search for me, of course. Your mansion is huge, and you have no shortage of phones I could be calling from. Besides, I'm sure you don't want to meet me, right? Or else, do you want to expose me and introduce me to everyone? Introduce me to Jessica, too. Tell her I'm her older brother by 1 year.
Stop it. Stay away from Jessica.
I guess I have scared you a bit too much. That is all from me for tonight. But do not forget, you cannot disobey me. Understand, Mother?
Yes.
I'm going to hang up for the night, but I have an order that must be followed until tomorrow morning.
What is it?
You may no longer leave that room tonight, and you may not make a phone call to anywhere. If a phone call comes for you, you are not allowed to take it. You will turn the lights off right now, get in bed, and go to sleep. Then you will wake up at your ordinary time. It sure is nice to live a healthy life. I really am such a good son, working so hard for the sake of my mother's body.
I understand. I'll go to sleep right now. I won't leave my room and I won't pick up the phone. So don't involve my husband and daughter.
As long as you follow my orders, I'll keep your secret, Mother. Do not disobey me. I'm already very close by to you. I can easily tell whether you've turned your lights off or whether you're on the phone. If I wish to, I could even kiss your sleeping face.
I'll keep it. I'll keep my promise. So stop it. Just stop it. Stop it.
As she screamed, Natsuki took the card she had found under the clock and crushed it up into a little ball. It had a pattern on it like a tarot card and also the kanji for autumn.
That's really interesting.
Interesting. Kanji for autumn.
It sure seems like it'd be hard for this not to be someone on the island.
Yeah. Like how, like they could be, like, we know the mansion is shaped in a square with a courtyard in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Could be Natsuki's window faces the interior courtyard and that someone's watching her from across the way. Because if they had the lights out in their room, they could easily see into Natsuki's room if she's got the window open or something. Maybe?
I don't know. I'm trying to reason out something, or it could just be like a whole power play. They set it up and already know that. But
Here's what's throwing me though. Less that and more that given the circumstantial evidence repeated by the caller, it seems that unless things are very different this time and the outside phone lines all still work right now, which maybe they do.
Maybe they do.
Maybe they do.
We have no one's tried it yet, so we don't know.
But if they don't, then only someone on the island would have all that info.
Correct.
And if that's the case, then it would have to be someone among this number of people.
Among them?
Yeah, who is the caller.
Yep.
But we've already established who can't be. Them being the ones that were in.
But here's the thing. Everyone who's left, Natsuhi would know their voice. Except maybe George. She only sees George once a year.
Yeah.
Or maybe like more than once a year. Like twice, 3 times a year at most.
But even people can disguise their voices.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, people can do different voices. I don't find that part odd. What I find odd is that who of the remainder would that be?
Because we narrowed that down to Goda,
Yeah.
Kumasawa, Maria, George, Jessica, Nanjo, and Erica. It could be Erica herself.
Yeah.
Although we know that since she's the detective, she's not the culprit, and she's above suspicion, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't prevent her from fucking around with people. But keep in mind, if we're to take the scene at face value, Natsuhi is also convinced that this is the same person that called her however many months ago.
Yeah.
So it's unlikely to be Erica.
Is it? How does that follow?
It follows because it does seem like Erica being on this island today is not a given. You know what I mean? Like the fact that she is here is something that can change pretty easily.
Mm-hmm. Maybe Natsuhi receiving these calls is something that can change.
Maybe. I wonder if she ever received a phone call during the other boards and we just didn't know what was said.
Maybe.
Yeah, we should pay attention for that. But yeah, I don't. So then it would have to be Nanjo, George, Jessica, Maria.
This would all fit together so fucking well.
Yep.
If there was another person on the island who shouldn't be here, who was, say, among the servants living in the orphanage, abandoned by Natsuhi or something.
Yeah, that could be.
Really resentful about it, but that just doesn't track with the red truths we have, God damn it.
Yeah, and I don't think we have any reason to suspect yet that the start of the board state is changed on this game, right?
Yeah. Plus, we already know the number of people.
Yeah.
So unless there's something fucky going on there, it can't be that.
I would then either have to convince me that one of these people is canon. We always come back to canon, not being who he says he is.
Maybe Cannon is drastically older than he looks. Not drastically, but maybe Cannon's 19. But Cannon's in that room. It's not Cannon. Fuck.
That's true. Oh yeah, it's not canon. Oh, okay, yeah, that actually saves us there. Goda maybe. Now they have also primed us, the audience, to note that character voices could be recorded.
Yeah.
However, this is still like the 1980s, right? Even if there's a good recording of someone's voice, you can tell. You don't have from the equipment that they'll have available to them on the island, you don't have perfect, like, undetectable audio capture. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure I follow.
Like, if someone was playing a recording on the phone to her, she would be able to tell.
I don't know that the year it occurred or the audio technology would have much to do with that, right? So phone call's not a high definition signal. Someone could certainly play a recording of someone speaking to you, even on a tape or whatever. It's just that you can't have a conversation.
Right.
That's the thing.
Yeah, because it'd be starting and stop. Yeah. So.
I think there's absolutely nothing preventing there from being a perfectly plausible recording of someone's voice to be played to her. But she couldn't have a conversation with that voice.
Okay. I was like, and her also mistaking that recording for the real voice. I don't necessarily buy that, but
we listen to all kinds of recordings from many times. It's not like there's It's not like recordings from the 1980s sound like they all came from a tin can.
No, but they also sound markedly different.
Do they?
Yeah, there's definitely you can't convince me that there isn't a noticeable upgrade in like recording audio quality from stuff recorded in the 80s versus stuff recorded today.
I don't know.
There is well, I suppose that's beside the point since we don't think that's the case, but nonetheless. I will die on this hill. Let's step back in time once again. Right now it is the exact same moment that the large clock in the hall announced 2400. Wondering who the person who knocked twice was, the relatives in the dining hall stared at the door. Rudolph told them to come in, but there was no answer. Until the end of that long tone marking the arrival of 2400, which had come from the large clock in the hall shortly after the knock, they were unable to move in the slightest. Maybe their hands are full and they can't open it. Maybe. It's a bit creepy that they won't say their name.
Should I open it? Do so, please.
Cannon nodded, then slowly opened the door.
Ah! What's that?
It's one of Father's envelopes?
Right behind the open door, on the floor of the hallway, lay the envelope.
There's no one in the hallway. Perhaps they placed this here and left.
The adults flew out into the corridor as well, but they could find no trace of anyone who might have knocked on the door. Just about an hour ago, Shannon and Cannon had come in to serve tea. At that time, everyone had seen that nothing lay on that spot. Someone came, knocked, and left an envelope with the mark of the one-winged eagle on it, and then left.
Could it have been the master?
She's selling it. She's selling it.
It's not unthinkable. Father's pretty much the only person in this mansion who would refuse to answer when asked who he was.
It's not Kraus, because we saw where Kraus was at the stroke of midnight.
Yeah, it seems like it wouldn't be Kraus or Natsuhi.
Because it was midnight when they were in the hallway. Genji didn't approach them until afterwards, right?
Yeah.
So it could have been Genji. And it could be any of the other ones we suspected being on the phone as well.
There's the other thing that's interesting. It's really interesting that the letter gets delivered right now, and then the incoming murders happen, just as Natsuhi's instructed to ensure she doesn't have an alibi.
Yep, they're setting her up.
But it also seems like it couldn't be the same person who both placed the call and dropped the note here, given the timing.
Interesting. We only have Natsuhi's word on what was said on the call.
That's true.
We only have Natsuhi's word on that.
That's true.
We have Genji vouching apparently that there was indeed a call put through to her, but we don't know we only have Natsuhi's word on what was actually said.
Even so, it seems like it'd be hard for the person calling to be the person that does this.
Yeah.
And yet, if we are to believe what Natsuhi experienced, they also seem to be connected.
It's not impossible. Knock, leave it, walk briskly away to another room, go start calling Natsuhi. Because Natsuhi doesn't receive the call till after midnight. Remember midnight 07?
She receives the phone's ringing before.
No.
Yeah, because that's why Genji comes up.
Right, but Genji comes up after midnight. Midnight passes with just Natsuhi and Kraus in the hallway.
I still find it difficult to make sense of this timeline.
Yeah, it's admittedly not my best work. We'll have to think it over some more.
That's not possible. If that were the case, why wouldn't Father come in here openly?
That's right. Father'd probably just barge in here without knocking. The doors and windows of this mansion are locked now, right? In that case, the only people who could have conceivably left the letter there are Kraus-san, Natsuhi-san, and Genji-san.
Oh, right, and they made a point of saying Kumasawa and Goda are currently in the guest house along with the kids.
Although, they could sneak out.
They could sneak out. That's possible. So they did a good job of making sure we knew everyone who was currently in here. All right, cool. By this point, the mansion had been completely locked up. Therefore, the cousins in the guest house, Nanjo, Goda, Kumasawa, and Erika, could not have come here. Really? They don't have a key to the... Alright. Furthermore, since Kraus, Natsuhi, and Genji were the only three who weren't in this room, one of those three had to have been the one who sent that letter down to the corridor. It was very likely that Kraus and the others had placed the letter there to make it seem like a message from Kinzo.
I see. It'll have something written on it that's supposedly in Father's name, saying that he won't accept Battler as the successor or something of the sort. Ridiculous. I can't believe you tried to pull such a childish trick, Nissan.
It's not like I give a damn about being the successor anyway, so... Give it up. That's just your fate. Seriously, my finances are on the line here, kid. If you don't want to do it, at least wait 3 months, okay? Anyway, why don't we read what's inside? I also like how I settled on a Rudolph voice being Kraus voice, but just slightly less irritating.
See, Kraus sounds like a fucking, gangster movie villain.
Nah, see?
Exactly. Rudolph just sounds like a lounge lizard.
I don't know what you're talking about. Rudolph set the letter off the dining hall table and let everyone see the front and back to show that there were no tricks or hidden mechanisms. Almost like a magician does before performing his act.
Can we be sure this envelope is one of Father's?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Father liked to use this kind of envelope for handwritten letters. What do you think, Shannon-chan? Yes, to my eyes as well, it looks like the type of envelope that Master uses.
That doesn't mean Father was the one who wrote it, though. It would be pitifully easy for Nissan to snatch one of these from a drawer in Father's study.
Cannon never smiles when he's around actual people. He knows that?
Yeah.
Even Kraus-sama would not be able to enter the study easily. It might be hard for him to steal an envelope.
Let's try opening it. Worry about all that later. Feels like there's something in it. I wonder what. Rudolph opened the envelope a bit roughly, and then a folded letter, and the glittering object fell out. It was a ring. Huh? Wait a second, isn't that ring? Ava noticed it immediately and grabbed at it.
Oh my god, of all the times for the curse. This is Father's ring, isn't it? It's the head's ring!
What in the... Seriously?
Are you sure that it's Father's? Could it be a replica? No, this is the real thing. I've always dreamed about wearing this ring on my finger someday. Even though Father wore this on his finger, I knew more about it than anyone else. This is Father's ring, no doubt about it. Why is it here?
Does that mean it really was Father who wrote this letter?
The sender isn't Father. Much more interesting than that. Then who's the letter from? The Ushiromiya family alchemist, of course. It's from the Golden Witch Beatrice-sama. Rudolph showed everyone the part of the letter where that was written. It really did say that.
It's from Beatrice.
What does it say?
This is really hard to do because all Kyrie, Ava, and Canon are all in the same scene together, and they all have very similar but slightly distinct voices from me.
Because Ava sounds like this, and Kyrie sounds like this but with a British accent, and Kanan sounds like this but with a British accent. without the breathy part to it. Ava is just breathy. Kyrie is breathy but also British. And Kanan is just British.
I want you to just know the deep work we put into this.
Oh yeah.
I know it all sounds the same because of course it does, but we work hard here at 8PR Incorporated. I'll read it. Congratulations. I acknowledge that Battler-sama spectacularly solved the epitaph's riddle and has reached the Golden Land. All of the gold that belongs to Battler-sama. Furthermore, Battler-sama is now the new head of the Ushiromiya family. As proof, I send the head's ring, which Kenzo-sama left in my charge. Battler-sama, I beg that you take the ring and become the new master of the gold and guide the Ushiromiya family. Sincerely pray that you flourish as the new head. What the hell? I see, Dad just won't come out of his study, so Beatrice, the Witch of the Forest, has acknowledged Battler directly.
Battler-kun, you take that ring. This is a special ring to be worn by the family head. I don't know who this Beatrice is, but she's watched the whole thing and sent you this ring after acknowledging you as the true successor. Is that okay? Such an important ring.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just like you can get one at Kinko's or something. Like $250. So wear it proudly on your finger, though. Used to have a ring pup on it. Got it? Even if Aniki and Natsuhine-san tell you to take it off, you'd better not do it.
All of the relatives with creepy smiles on their faces urged Battler to put the ring on his finger. Looked like things would get pretty nasty if he refused, so Battler reluctantly decided to put the middle finger on the middle finger of his left hand.
Look at my ring. Look at it.
Look at it! Oh my god, he gets to flip people off when showing them the ring. That's awesome! Oh, that's great. Because that's not his ring finger. Interesting. I guess it would be weird if he put it on the ring finger of his left hand, because that means something entirely different. No, I don't want to marry my grandfather. The ring was heavy and stiff. At that moment, Kraus returned, and Genji came back as well shortly behind him.
My apologies. It seems my wife is not at her best, so she's gone to bed early. Did something happen? You all seem incredibly flustered.
Battler-sama, isn't that... Immediately, Genji keenly spotted that which Battler had just put on his finger. It's a weird thing, but Genji of all people noticing it, I can buy. It seems like maybe he was primed to notice that it was there, but... Yeah.
Your eyesight's pretty good, Genji-san. Looks like you know whose ring this is.
God, every single person in this family now just creeps me the hell out. Well, all the adults in this family creep me the hell out now.
Oh, yeah.
It's so uncomfortable, right? What? Nah, what are you talking about?
Judging by Kraus's dubious expression, it seemed unlikely that he was the one who placed the letter there. Furthermore, that expression quickly changed into one of shock. That's right. It's the Ushiromiya family's head's ring. The family conference took up this new topic, and the storm came once again.
If for someone to get the ring out of the study, they'd need to be someone who has access to the study.
Yep.
So it has to be someone who is involved in the Kinzo cover-up.
I guess that just leaves Kumasawa, huh?
Yeah.
But also, allegedly, Natsuhi has all of the...
They didn't have to get the ring right now.
True.
They could have taken it some time ago. We don't know that Natsuhi and Kraus regularly check that the ring's there or anything.
That's true.
Could be that, say, any of the servants stole it at some time in the past.
Right? Because it's not like they're freshly getting it off his corpse.
Yeah.
Someone always seems to have it ready to go. Interesting. Also, I couldn't tell. Was that it did the clock and it did the glass shatter, but
It did the glass
sound
shatter?
effect.
It did?
It did the sound effect, and it had the clock moving, but I couldn't tell if this was like a chapter end or not. Well, I guess maybe we'll end it here for today.
All right.
At the ambiguous chapter end, and we'll see you all next time. And welcome back to regular Umineko updates. I hope you all have a good time with it, because I know we are having a great time. So we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah.
Safe.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.